friends, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make traditional Napa Cabbage Kimchi. And because I'm using cabbages that I grew in my organic garden, I have to take a couple of extra steps that normally you probably wouldn't have to take if you were using store-bought cabbage. Now, I'm going to be honest and I'm going to show you the good, bad, and the ugly. If you garden organically, you are going to have bugs and pests in your vegetables. Normally, you wouldn't see any of this if you were just buying grocery store food because grocery store food is treated with pesticides. Pretty much the golden rule of gardening is if the pests are eating your vegetables, then they're safe for you to eat too. So, I'm going to start with cleaning up these cabbages. I just pulled off some of the outer leaves and I'm just trimming off the root ball at the bottom a little bit so I can see better. And you can see there's already been some things fall out of the root ball down at the bottom. Most of that is slugs. I know it's gross, but that is just part of the garden life. So once I get that trimmed up nice and flat down there, I am going to show you what just kind of fell out of just the bottom part of this cabbage. A couple of slugs, a couple of flea beetles. It's pretty gross. So I'm going to clean up my cutting board and I'm going to continue on getting my cabbages ready for their soak. I went ahead and pulled off all of the outer leaves that were chewed up really bad. This is not going to impact my kimchi at all because you really want the tighter core of the cabbage for making kimchi. So I'm going to put a shallow cut in the end of the root ball and I'm going to gently pull both parts away from each other. I don't want to tear the cabbage. I just want the leaves to pull away from each other. I'm going to trim a little bit more of the excess pieces down off the bottom just for a prettier presentation. And then I'm going to put another shallow cut in here. Basically, this will be turning my cabbage into quarters. I'm not going to pull this one apart yet, though. I'm going to leave it slightly connected because we'll pull this apart later. We want the cabbages to be halves so that they can hold on to the salt better. So I'm doing about 6 pounds of Napa cabbage. It's a lot of kimchi, but my family really enjoys kimchi. And here's where we move on to the first step. This is an extra step for me because it came from the garden. I'm going to fill my sink up. That's why I scrubbed it. Make sure you're using a clean sink. I'm going to fill my sink up with cold water and I'm going to submerge all of the halves of the Napa cabbage into this cold water. And I'm going to add some white vinegar to the water to help kill any critters that might be hiding between the cabbage leaves. I'm still going to be very meticulous about checking every leaf of this cabbage because we don't want any ugly surprises later. But this also serves the purpose of helping to break up some of the soil that is stuck to the leaves of the cabbage. It makes it easier for me to clean. So I'm going to let these soak for about half an hour. And then I am going to come back and rough them up a little bit in the sink and start checking cabbage leaves. And I know this sounds like a lot of work just to make some kimchi. Well, I can just go to the store and buy some kimchi. But for me, this kimchi is a labor of love. I have nurtured these plants from seed all the way up to harvest. And this is me bringing kind of a dream to fruition. I said last year that I would really like to grow Napa cabbage and then take my homegrown Napa cabbage and turn it into kimchi. And this is me completing that goal. I set that goal for myself, and this is me carrying it out. So I don't mind to sit and separate each leaf of this cabbage and make sure that there's nothing gross down in between them so I can make the best product that I can possibly make for my family. But here I'm going to show you what was left in the bottom of the sink. Even though a lot of those slugs fell out when I was cutting the cabbage apart, there was still a lot of bugs and dirt in the sink. So definitely, if you're growing your own cabbage, soak it. So now we're going to move on to salting our cabbage. Our cabbage will still be damp from rinsing it off. And all we're going to do is take a half a cup of kosher salt, sea salt, Redmond's real salt, canning salt, anything except for iodized salt. And we're going to just sprinkle a little bit of that salt in between each leaf of the Napa cabbage. You want to make sure that you get salt all the way down to where it attaches to the root ball, because that is where the cabbage is more dense. And this process is going to help draw water out of your cabbage so that it ferments better. It has a nicer texture. Once we get this completely done, these cabbages are going to sit for 2 hours with the salt on. Every half an hour, I'm going to come back and I'm going to turn the cabbages over. I'm going to start them with the cut side facing up so the salt stays in the cabbages. And then in half an hour, I'll come back and flip them all over and rinse and repeat until they've been sitting in the salt solution for 2 hours. And when I'm completely done, you'll see that when I started off, I needed 2 bowls for these cabbages. And by the end, all of these 6 pounds of cabbage fit in 1 bowl. So they really do let go of a lot of water and lose volume. And it doesn't take that long. And it really doesn't take that much salt. Half a cup did all of these cabbages, no problem. It's pretty crazy the amount of water they let go. So I'm just going to get these all settled into the bowls. And when I have 1 hour left on my salt soak, I'm going to start the next step. For this, you're going to need a small saucepan. You're going to need 2 cups of water. And you're going to need something called glutinous rice flour. It's pretty easy to find at any of your international markets. I know they sell it on Amazon as well. So don't skip this step. You really need this to help hold your mixture together and hold it to your cabbage. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of glutinous rice flour to this water. Be very careful. It's very fine like cornstarch and it will fly everywhere. I'm just going to add that in. And then I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar or turbinado sugar, or white sugar is fine if you don't have either of those other 2 things. And what we're making here is just a porridge. This is what is going to be mixed with our pepper flakes to make our kimchi delicious and thick. This process really doesn't take very long. I'm just going to whisk this until it starts to bubble, like on a low simmer. And once it starts to get a little bit more viscous and is bubbly, I am gonna just let it cool. You do not want to add this mixture to your pepper flakes while it is still hot. This needs to be absolutely cooled off room temperature. So then I'm going to go back over here while I'm waiting for that to come up to a simmer, and this is the last time I'm flipping these cabbages. And you can see all of them are now in 1 bowl, and they have lost a lot of volume and are very soft and pliable, and that is exactly what we want. I'm going to show you here in just a second how much liquid these let loose. And if you like, you can absolutely scoop the salty cabbage water from the bottom of the bowl like this and pour it on top of your vegetables. I don't really think that you need to. Moving them around in the bowl is usually plenty. So now you can see my porridge is bubbling and it has thickened slightly. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat, remove it from the burner, and just let it sit. As this cools, it will thicken even more. And now it's time to drain and rinse our cabbages. You want to make sure that you rinse these very well so that your cabbage is not overly salty when your kimchi is finished. So I'm just going to take the time to fill up, the bowl a couple of times with cold water and then rinse each individual cabbage. It's at this point that we're going to go ahead and pull apart the quarters. Remember, we cut the end of the halves, but we didn't pull it apart. Now we're going to pull it apart and we're going to turn the cabbages cut side facing down to help drain off some of the excess water. You want to pull gently at this point. Your cabbage is very soft. You don't really want to tear it. You just want to pull it apart. And I'm going to go ahead and set my strainer inside this bowl and allow my cabbage to drain all of the excess water off while I continue on making the kimchi paste. This will have plenty of time to sort of drip dry by the time we're done making the rest of the kimchi mix. So into my food processor, I'm adding 1 large onion, and I just kind of chopped it into chunks to make it easier to blend. I'm going to add about a 1.5 inch piece of ginger that I've chopped into pieces and peeled. And I am going to be adding a lot of garlic. This is 24 cloves of garlic, and trust me, you need 24 cloves of garlic for this kimchi recipe. So all I'm going to do is just blitz this up in my food processor until it's a nice paste. No big chunks, nice and smooth. And the smell that comes out of this food processor when you open it up is just intoxicating. It smells so good. Some kimchi recipes call for you also to blend up an Asian pear or a really sweet apple. If you like your kimchi sweeter, go ahead and do that at this point. You want to just core and peel your apple or your Asian pear, chop it into chunks, and throw it in with this mixture. I think that my kimchi gets enough sweetness from the ginger and the brown sugar and the glutinous rice flour. So, customize your kimchi recipe to suit your needs. There are even vegetarian kimchi recipes that don't call for any fish sauce or anything. So, do a little research and find a kimchi recipe that works for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my porridge that I made that is completely cooled off and add that to my garlic and ginger mixture. The rest of this process is really easy. 90% of the hard part about making kimchi is just chopping all the vegetables and salting the cabbage. But other than that, it's really simple. It just takes a while. So you're going to want a really good fish sauce for this. And I'm going to add about a half a cup of fish sauce. I know that sounds like a lot, but when you eat kimchi, you won't even taste the fish sauce. You just know there's a little something there that's giving it some like umami or there's just something there. You can't quite put your finger on it. You will not be overwhelmed by fish sauce by the time this process is over with. I promise. Trust the process. And this next ingredient might sound a little odd to some of you, but we are using salted shrimp. This is another one of those ingredients, like the rice porridge, that I will tell you, do not miss this step. If you can get to an international market and get a jar of salted shrimp and you're going to make kimchi, do it. Absolutely do it. Do not skip this step. Because just like the fish sauce, the salted shrimp adds just a little something extra to your kimchi. It makes it special. It's just tiny little shrimp. There's nothing to get weirded out about. So I'm going to take a fourth of a cup of this and I'm just going to press the liquid. I did a fourth a cup with the brine. So I'm going to press the brine out of the measuring cup and I'm going to put the rest of the shrimp onto my cutting board and just kind of mince it up. We don't want to use these guys whole. We're going to chop them into oblivion. And they don't necessarily have to be chopped until they're completely smooth like a shrimp paste. But you just cut them up until there's really no identifiable features. That's kind of the rule for me. I just go at them with my knife for a little while, make them into smaller pieces, and I will add that right into that mix that we've been working on. I'm not gonna lie, they do smell a little bit funky, but in my opinion, that, that's what makes kimchi good. It's supposed to be a little funky. So now, when it comes to the gochugaru, the red pepper flakes, the Korean red pepper flakes, I'm going to tell you that if you do not have a high heat tolerance, use 1 cup. If you like your kimchi spicy, use 2 cups. Use 2.5 cups. Whatever makes you happy. But keep in mind, these Korean red pepper flakes do not play around. They are hot. They are supposed to be hot. So maybe if this is your first time making kimchi, start with a cup of the gochugaru and see if you maybe next time want it to be a little spicier. You can always make it spicier next time, but if you make a whole batch that's so spicy you can't eat it, you've just wasted all of your time and effort. So I'm just going to mix all of those peppers into the rice porridge and the blended mixture. And this is 1 Korean radish that I matchsticked, a handful of carrots that I matchsticked, and a bunch of green onions that I chopped up, white parts and green parts. Now you can use 11 green onions, or you can use 8 green onions and a cup of Asian chives if you can get a hold of Asian chives. I cannot, so I just use extra green onions. There's also an ingredient called water drop wort that is delicious in kimchi if you can find it at your international markets. So I let that mixture just kind of sit and bloom a little bit. And here's why I tell you put on gloves. This stuff does not fool around with your cuticles. You will have fingers of fire. So put on gloves. It will not only set your fingers on fire, but it will dye your hands orange. So just wear gloves. I promise. You'll save yourself so much pain and anguish. So here I'm just showing you some new fermentation jars that I picked up. I really like these, so I'm probably going to put these down below in my Amazon list. I have some affiliate links listed in the description box below of things that I use regularly and products that I really enjoy using. So these will be down there now. They're very inexpensive and they do the job really well. So once we've given our mixture time to bloom, all we're going to do at this point, this last step, is just put the mixture in between every leaf of the cabbage. You want to make sure that you don't overdo it because you need to have enough to do all of your cabbages, but you want to make sure that every leaf gets some of the gochugaru mixture and a little bit of the vegetables. This is a process. It does take a while. It is messy. You can see I put my apron on. I was wearing a white shirt. Mama didn't raise no dummy. I would rather stain a black apron than a white shirt. So keep that in mind when you're making kimchi that, you either need to be wearing some clothing you don't care about or put on an apron. But I'm just going to go through every one of these quarters, make sure every leaf gets some of the mixture. I'm going to fold it down on itself, and as carefully as I possibly can, I'm going to put it into my fermentation vessel, and then I'm going to press it down. Throughout this whole process, you need to be making sure that you're pushing your cabbages down. We want them to continue to release liquid, and we want to make sure that we get as much air out of this container as possible. At first, it doesn't look like there's going to be enough liquid when you're done to cover your cabbages, and anybody that's done any type of fermentation might go into panic mode, like, oh no, they're going to mold. No, they won't. I promise. Give them like 12 hours, and you're going to have all kinds of liquid in there that you can push your cabbages down into. So you just check on them for a little while. And once you get them all done, you're going to clean up the inevitable mess that will have happened all around your jars. Now, I'm going to let these jars, my house is kind of cold, so I'm going to let these jars sit on my counter for about 3 or 4 days until when I push my cabbages down, bubbles come up. Once I get to that point, I am going to just put them in the refrigerator. They'll be ready to eat. In fact, we've already taste tested this kimchi and it is phenomenal. It is delicious. So I'll be sharing this with my family and my kids will probably be gobbling this up. You'll notice here I'm not using the airlocks because the little rubber tabs in the top of these lids, if my kimchi makes too much gas bubbles, it will just pop this little tab open and allow the kimchi to burp. Also, keep in mind once you place this into the refrigerator, it does not stop the fermentation process. It just slows it down. So the longer your kimchi sits in your refrigerator, the more sour it's going to get. I personally like my kimchi really sour, but some people think that once it gets to a certain point in sourness, it's only good for cooking things like kimchi fried rice or kimchi stew. That's totally personal preference. Just keep an eye on it and taste it from time to time. And that's all I have for you this week, friends. I really hope that you try this Napa Cabbage Kimchi recipe. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jen. I do cookie, canning, and food preservation videos every Tuesday and garden vlogs every Friday. I hope that you'll consider subscribing and sticking around. We'd love to have you here. Until next time, friends, happy cooking.